Hello and welcome to My Retro Watches. My name is Mike, and if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you enjoy this particular video and you actually get something from it. If you do, please click the subscribe button and the bell button next to it, which is down in the corner down here somewhere, and that way you'll be alerted, should I say, to any of my new uploaded content. Okay, with that out of the way, this video is one that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. It's just taken a bit of thought process to figure out how to capture this on video where you guys can actually enjoy it and make sense of what we're going to see. So what I want to try and do is take a proper Timegraph machine. This is called a Weichi 1000, costs about 120, 130 pounds, but you can shop around for it. And there is also going to be a link below to an affiliate link where I can get a small kickback if you do want to buy this machine. Not that I'm trying to sell it to you. Okay, so we're going to use this machine to listen to some watches, and we're going to get some results from that. But I've got a telephone app. It's on iOS. It's called Watch Tuner Timegraph, and it costs at the time of this video £12.99. So we've got £12.99 versus about 120, 130 pounds. So kind of apples and pears really. However, I've tried a few apps before, but certainly before I had the machine, and this particular one was the most expensive one to buy on the market that I could find, but it seemed to have more functions and more settings that are in line with the actual machine, to be fair. So as much as it is what it is, I think it's going to be interesting. I've not done this test yet myself, so I'm anticipating some rather intriguing results, should we say. Let's see. So the idea then will be to go on the bench. I'm going to test an array of watches. I've got some that I've just serviced. I've got a few that aren't serviced, and some that I'm not too sure about at all, i.e., well, we'll get into that when we get there. And the idea is to set them up at the same time and to listen to them. I'm going to get the software to listen to the watch and the Timegrapher together. I'm going to run it for 3 minutes. I think that's a fair sort of test, of which at the end we can compare the results of the Timegrapher versus the app and see how that's comparing, and then do it on different watches, as I say, because then we're getting a fairer reflection. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. I have no idea. Even now I'm trying to think, well, how am I going to film this properly that is going to be entertaining for you guys, that we can actually all learn something. You know, is a phone app anywhere near as good as the real machine? Let's find out. So we're going to go onto the bench. I'll get things set up and I'll talk you a little bit through the Timegrapher itself, what the results displayed mean. It's not a video for how to regulate a watch. I'm saving that one. It's probably going to be maybe my next video that I do. So we've got a little bit of a series going on. Certainly if you want to then learn how to make your watch a bit more accurate. But I'll talk you through what it displays, what that means, and the settings that you might need to input in order to get a fair reading. This this is not a watch, this is a phone. This phone also has some of the same settings. That's why I think it's quite a fair reflection. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the bench now. I'll get things set up and I'll talk you through it. Okay, right, we're on the bench and we are looking at the Weichi 1000. What a name. Okay, so this is a Timegraph machine, and the first thing, well, what you can generally do when you switch it on, it's always got sound, which I like to mute because it's really annoying. And I press the start button and then I press the menu button again, and it gives you this. This is the only option screen that you have. Now, the only thing that you really need to be checking in here, other than language, of course, is this lift angle. Now, you don't really need to know too much about lift angle, okay? So the default when you switch the machine on is on 52. That gives you a nice mean reading. The lift angle is basically the angle that the impulse jewel passes through the palette, and certain watches are slightly different. So if you've got the lift angle required, then you're going to get a more accurate reading in respect of amplitude, not necessarily for the actual timing of the watch. Okay, so we need to change that in there if we know it. If we don't, doesn't matter, just leave it at 52. It's going to give you some sort of results. Okay, if you want to know more about lift angles or where you can find them, again, I'm going to leave a link down below to a few websites that I found that you can find these lift angles. It's just basically finding the model number of the particular watch, the particular movement, and it'll have a number next to it. So for instance, if we take in this one, and some of you, if you've watched my other video, will recognize this watch. So obviously the last time you saw this, it hadn't been serviced. We were seeing what has stopped it. Well, I've now cleaned it and rebuilt it, and it's running nice and true. And so this is going to be the first watch we'll test actually. However, this is a Seiko 6119 movement. So to look for the lift angle, you're going to look for Seiko. You're then going to look for 6119. There are 3 variants. There's an A, B, and C, but that doesn't matter. All of them are going to say that the lift angle is 54 degrees. So you can just go in there and you can set that. The important thing is the app. We can also set the lift angle. Okay, so I will show you that separately, but this I just thought I'd get out of the way. As I say, if you're not too technical on watches, you don't really need to know about lift angles. You can keep it on 52. If you're just trying to see how many seconds it's gaining a day or not, if it's running fast or slow, this is enough. Okay, so don't get too hung up on what I'm trying to say if I'm getting a bit too technical. So what we're going to do, because I'm just going to talk you through the sort of results that we see on the screen, because you can relate to them then as we go through the tests later on. So there's a microphone in here, and this listens to the watch. When I test them, I'm going to test them this way up, and that's purely just because the other microphone from the phone is going to have a chance of listening to it. But just for this demonstration purposes, I'm going to put it on like so. And I'm going to change that lift angle, because the people out there who are watching who are into this will kill me if I haven't set the correct lift angle. So there we are, 54. And then I'm going to click the start button. And basically what this does is it listens to the watch, and then it gives us a graph, as you can see here. And it sometimes takes a little bit of time to settle down, and that is why I want to do the test on each watch for 3 minutes, because I think it's going to give it a more chance to gather the right information and give the best averages. So let's interpretate what we can see. I'll just try and zoom in there a little bit if I can. I'm sitting right in front of the camera on a tripod, so if I do knock it, please forgive me. So the lift angle we were just talking about, we know what that is. This is also going to change to this, 21,600. That is the beats per hour. So that's how many times the second hand will move per hour. What am I talking about? I was trying to convert it into how many times it moves a second, and I can't quite remember it off the top of my head. Okay, so we have the rate. This is the important thing. Okay, let me just find something to point with. So we have the rate over here, and at the moment it's telling us that it's -6 seconds a day at this current reading, and of course you've got these other readings as it goes across the graph. So it's trying to give you an average. Amplitude, this is the degrees in which the balance wheel, which is the one with the hairspring that does all the timing, that's the degrees of travel that has. So the bigger the number, usually the more healthy the watch is. However, every watch can be slightly different. I know, for instance, because I do so many vintage Seikos, that 218 degrees on a watch that's 40 something years old, that is pretty good. But you could put something else in there and it could be 300 or more degrees. Okay, but that is going to give you an indication as to the health of the watch. And then the last thing is called beat error, and the beat error is a bit more technical. So you've got to try and just think of a watch goes tick and tock, okay, and it's the accuracy of the tick and the tock. Are the tick and the tock exactly equal to one another? And this is all, if you want to get really technical, it's all about how the impulse jewel passes through the pallet fork and arcs through its degrees of travel. So is it going one way faster than the other, basically? And at the moment, this is at 0.4 milliseconds. So that's, you know, we're talking milliseconds, we're not talking a lot. However, the desirable setting is obviously 0.0, and a lot of my friends, either professional watchmakers or fellow tinkerers like I, will always try and aim for plus point, so not plus, but 0.1 millisecond. Now, despite the fact I've serviced this watch, it's now moved. It was at 0.00, I think, originally, but it's gone out. And you expect this. You can get a watch to run absolutely to within a second of the day after just servicing it and putting it onto the Timegrapher. But if you wear it for a few days or after a year, all these sort of figures are going to start changing. However, the other important thing to look at is these parallel lines. So ideally you want one straight line. If you were trying to service a watch, that's the goal, that's the holy grail to get, is one nice straight line. And that would just mean that the tick and the tock are absolutely perfect. So this little gap here is representing the 0.5 milliseconds basically. And what you can find on an unhealthy watch or a non-service watch is this could be a complete and utter snowstorm, for instance. There could be dots everywhere, or you could be getting one nice straight line and one jagged line. There's so many different infinite possibilities. But what you're looking for on a healthy watch is either two fairly close parallel lines or one continuous line, along with all these readings in very low, well, this one and this one in very, very low numbers. I can't tell you what the average should be or what it should be set at. You know, I guess every watch manufacturer might have tolerances from the factory. However, I can't tell you what they are because I don't know, and I feel like I'm waffling a bit here. So let me stop. So hopefully that is going to make those of you out there who don't understand this a bit more meaningful, because now you've got a bit of information to interpret the results as we're going to do. So I'll now just quickly show you the phone app, and then we'll set up to do the first test. Okay, just to show the app quickly, I'm going to put it up to the screen like this. When it comes to doing it, I'm just going to do a screen grab on this and overlay it on the original video. So as you can see, it looks pretty much the same. We've got the same kind of readings. We have the lift angle setting here. We've got a sensitivity for the microphone. Now the drawback with the phone instantly is the fact that you've got to use your headphone jack and a microphone, or your headphones with the built-in microphone, to listen to the watch. And that means you've got to be in really quiet conditions. So if you've got a house full of kids, no chance, absolutely no chance whatsoever. If the birds are singing outside, absolutely no chance. Telly on, no chance. You've got to be in a very quiet room. So like me, I'm sitting actually in my garage, as I think some of you guys know. It's late at night, I'm talking to myself, but it's very, very quiet in here, which is perfect. We have a sensitivity button, which is obviously to increase and decrease. The idea is really to lie the watch onto the microphone and let it listen, and if it can't listen to it accurately enough, then you can turn the sensitivity up and hopefully it will start picking up the beat. So that is its, to be honest, that is its main limitation. Obviously the £120 Timegraph, I can talk as loudly as I like and it's not going to really pick up me. It also has a sensitivity setting for the microphone on that, incidentally, that you can turn up and down should you need to. So far they're comparing very well with the features they've got, other than this one major limitation. You will plug in the headphones and you will find, I'm going to put a different one on because I've got one where the case back is off already. So if I pop that into there and then put the microphone, I'm dropping everything here, we then put this microphone over the top and then be very quiet, I am then going to click the start button, and what it does is it collates 30 seconds of data, I think, from memory. And you can see up here it's saying samples, and for every time it flashes red it means it's not listening to it properly. So here we go. You can already see that it's overlaying the trace, and it just needs a little bit more time to pick up the readings that it thinks it's going to get. So already we can see what it thinks it's getting. Now these will vary. You'll see that this changes quite a lot, and maybe the beat error does, and maybe the amplitude does. And then we've got the average results here, which are, realistically speaking, these are the ones we're going to be interested in when we do the test. So that's kind of just the introduction. Another thing that you can do with the app, which obviously you can't do with the Timegrapher, which is quite useful, I can press stop and I can click save, and then I can name this test. So you can compare. So it's the 21st of the 5th today, so I'll just put in the date, for instance, and then that's going to save that results, which is quite useful, because then you could do a before and after, or over a period of time. So that is a plus point, one plus point to the £12.99 app against the Weichi. But I guess with the Weichi you can do the old-fashioned trick, and that is to get a pen and paper and to actually write down the results in the first place. So okay, I'm going to stop talking, we're going to set up, we're going to do the first watch. I won't be able to talk through that anyway, so we'll set it up and I'll just do a fast forward, and then I'll talk at the end of the results. Okay, let's start test number one, and the watch to do that in is going to be this one here, which was in my last video of what stops a watch. Some of you guys asked if there was going to be a follow-on, so perhaps you just want to use this as the follow-on, because you'll now see how well it's running after I've serviced it. So we're going to put that down like so. I've set the lift angle to 54 degrees. I've also done the same on the phone app here, as you can see there. So we're going to let this run for 3 minutes, of which I'll skip that for you guys, and we'll have a look at the results at the end. So I just need to put the microphone, which is here on this headphone, and place that on the top like so. And then to do the timing, I'm going to be using this Seiko. This is a 0634 5019. This is a bit of an iconic piece in the digital world. People go crazy for these, including myself. This is the world's first digital chronograph, so it's quite a significant watch, and what a watch to use to do the timing on here, perhaps. So I'm going to start this off. We're going to start the two Timegrapher machines and the app, and see the results. Off we go. Okay, so let's have a look at the results we've got here then. So on the Timegrapher, after 3 minutes, we have got 0 seconds a day. So it's absolutely running completely perfectly, which is almost unreal. The amplitude did vary. I did see it go up and down a little bit, but it is averaging at the moment after 3 minutes at 205, and of course the beat error there is 0.4 milliseconds. So the important thing now is, how do we get on with the phone? So the phone, first of all, has a very interesting trace, doesn't it? Look at the nice straight line that we have here, and all of this almost snowstorm. There's hints of straight lines everywhere, but we're going to look at the average. So at the moment the rate there, actually, as it stops, is absolutely spot on. The beat error is completely way out, and the amplitude is not far away, but I'm going to work on the averages because I think that's more realistic. So the average rate is minus 1.3 seconds a day. No, the machine says 0 or maybe, you know, 1. So it's pretty close. Amplitude, absolutely not far away. Look, 205, 214, and average is 216. It says it seems to think that it's seen a maximum of 223. I don't know whether I did. So it's not that far away in degrees, but of course the beat error is absolutely way off. Clearly this thing can't pick up a beat error. Perhaps it's because the microphone isn't strong enough, or I should turn up the sensitivity, but I'm just leaving it all as is. So, you know, maybe we can improve that. But from test number 1, well, for £12.99, it's not bad. It's not far away, and at least it's testing the rate fairly accurately. So let's set up for test number 2, which is going to be a watch that has not been serviced at all. Right, here's watch number 2. It's a Seiko DX. It's in my to-do list for restoration, and it's a 6106 movement, which again has a lift angle of 54. So we'll just repeat the same procedure. We'll put that on there like so. We'll put the microphone on the top, get the stopwatch, and oops, what I don't want to do is knock the microphone. In actual fact, I've got something here, there's a little bit of steel. I could use that to weight it down. Okay, I'll be ready. Let's go. Right, okay, so what results have we got here? So the Timegrapher was going a bit crazy there, so as much as we can kind of see a stripy parallel line, I saw the amplitude in the 200s, and now it's down to 129, so something clearly isn't quite right with that balance. The beat error did fluctuate a bit, and so did the rate, but those are the numbers we are looking at to compare. So how did the phone get on? Right, okay. The phone has not even been able to pick up an amplitude at all. So the quality of the reading was insufficient for it to get it. And I guess that is because of the swings that it was showing on the machine there. So it's failed on amplitude completely. The average rate error is minus 298 seconds. Okay, against 149 at the point that I stopped. So if we went on this rate, again, it's sort of like a 10-second swing or a 50-second swing if you look at it there. So bit erroneous, but who can blame it? It's a very poor watch. And the beat error, again, the average beat error is 0.9 against 0.7. So, you know, not bad. Very different results to the last one, but it was a harder test, I feel, because obviously this particular watch is in desperate need of some maintenance. So let's put on another one and do the test again and see what we get this time. Okay, this time I'm going to do this Longines. I'm not sure if you can see that very well in the light. This is a proper vintage watch that I serviced recently, and I got somebody else, Mr. Simon Coop, if he's watching, to repair the hairspring on this one. Now it's a Longines 284 hand wind movement in there, and from my research it's a 50-degree lift angle. So I've set it up 50 degrees on there, and of course I have also on the app. So repeat the same procedure, put it on like so. Get the microphone, and I'm just going to use that little bit of steel again just to hold it in place. So Ready, set, and go. Right, end of test number 3, and what do we have? So pretty constant, I have to say. The rate didn't really go much above plus or minus 1 second a day, which again is absolutely superb. I'm even surprised myself. Amplitude was nice and constant, and the beat error is absolutely minimal. So you'd have to say that this watch is absolutely as good as it can possibly be. So what did the app tell us? Right, so first time I've actually seen the graph show any sort of form of trace. Does it follow that one? No. So from a pictorial point of view, the app is absolutely useless at displaying it in a way that's cohesive. The average rate, so we're looking at what have we got here, 0.2 seconds a day. Well, that's not too bad, is it? It's a little bit better, if you like, than a second. However, you know, well, we're looking at milliseconds here. The beat error is average of 0.4, and again it's 0.1 on the machine, so it's a bit out again on that. And the amplitude is not too far away, is it? So what it's telling me so far is the app is okay. You know, it'll give you a fairly good reading, but not accurate enough compared to the machine, that's for certain. So let's do one more watch, and then we'll round it all up, and I can let you get back on to doing whatever you want to do. Right, so the fourth and final watch is this lovely Secura jump hour. It looks like it's got a face, this watch, very retro, and I absolutely love it. It has to be said. It looks, you could either say that's a robot face with a spinning nose or a spinning mustache, who knows, but it's pretty cool. What it's got inside there is a BFG 158 jeweled movement. I think it's a 17 jewel actually, and I can't find a lot of information at it, so I'm going to leave this one at 52 degrees on the lift angle. So we'll do the usual now. We'll set it up and we'll let that run, and we'll see again what the results we get for this final watch. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's the final watch, and it's telling us a few things here. Just get that strap out of the way because that might be annoying you a little bit. So I did see the rate fluctuate. The amplitude took a long time to kick in, and the beat error is quite significant, 7 milliseconds. So the stud is really, well, the impulse jewel is really out of alignment in there, so that needs to be remedied at some point. So what did the app give us? Right, okay, for the first time we've actually got a trace on the graph that doesn't, well, nearly resembles that, but at least it's a bit more cohesive. We have an average rate of -15, and the rate when we stopped it was at 17.9, so for once the rate is pretty good. The beat error is, when we stopped it's on 7, and on this one 7.6 for average, but it failed to pick up the amplitude. It's basically telling us that the quality of the signal, not the signal, but the sound wasn't good enough. So we can't rate it on the amplitude. So there we are. There is 4 tests. I'll round this up now in front of the camera and give you what I think is my opinion. Okay, so the tests have been completed. We did the 4 watches and nothing was pretty conclusive. However, what's my opinion on the app? I don't think it's too bad for the money you've got to pay. For the novice that just wants to check some of their watches, you know, it's going to give you a reasonable reading. At least the seconds per day, you know, the main rate reading was fairly close. So at a glance you can see whether your watch is gaining 30 seconds a day or minus whatever, which could give you a good indication of how good or bad it is, or whether it needs a service. So from that point of view, it's okay. It could also, let's just try and be kind to it really. It could be tweaked, I suppose. We can mess around with the sensitivity a little bit more. We could perhaps use a better microphone than the one I've got on my headphones. All these things probably could help it. But you know, if you want to go to that extreme, you may as well buy the machine. The machine's going to win hands down. It always was going to win hands down because of you get what you pay for, don't you, end of the day. I would always recommend anybody to buy a Weichi 1000, or that there's another model, a higher model. I think it's the 1900 from memory, costs you a bit more. But if if you're serious about watches and you collect quite a few automatics and mechanical watches, it's good to have this sort of thing, because one, you can test whether your watch is going to need a service, because you'll be able to see that the graph is erroneous. But 2, perhaps if you've had a watch serviced, you can actually check to see how good or bad it was actually done. But anyway, it was to compare the 2. So I think the apps, it's got a place in the market. Would I recommend it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Possibly yes, just for at a glance. But for anything serious, absolutely no. I can't believe that you would want to try and wrestle with that, because the readings were so different, certainly on beat error in particular, that you could, to adjust beat error, you've got to move the thing called a stud, which is part of the balance, and you don't want to be messing around with that. Certainly if the app tells you one thing and the machine would tell you something completely different. So you can create more harm than is good. But that's my conclusion. I can't really say too much more than that. You know, if you want to go for the app, buy it. Don't have any great expectations. But if you do want to get more into how accurate your watches are, definitely buy the Weichi 1000. Great investment. And actually, to be fair, they don't come up very often second-hand on eBay. I do look, which proves that the people who buy them keep hold of them, you know. So good investment. So I'm going to round it up there. I feel this video has probably gone quite a long time, and I do like to talk, as you can probably guess. So forgive me for that, you know, if you want to just see everything from start to finish very quickly. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked it. Please leave your comments down below, because I'd love to hear your feedback on this particular video. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button as well. And while I'm at it, of course, I've got to promote the Facebook group. There's, again, 5,000 of us in there or more now, all over the world, all absolutely watch crazy. Some people are professionals, some people are tinkerers, some people are just mad about watches and they want to show their collections off. So join Retro and Vintage Watches and Restorations. Do a search for that. There will be a link below. There's always a link below for the Facebook group. Hopefully I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you in the next video. So thank you for watching.